we have our spotlight presentation, and we're going to hear from Ashley McCloskey, our VP of Regional Economic Development Councils, and Vinny Esposito, our Senior VP of Regional Economic Development Councils, and who is going to lead. We have both of them on the screen, and who is going to lead us? Vinny?
I'll go first, Kevin, and introduce Ashley to make a short presentation. Thanks for having us. Thanks to the board for an opportunity to talk about the Regional Economic Development Councils, which is now entering in its 13th year of existence. It's a really marquee initiative for the state's economic development efforts, really rooted in the foundation that our state's economy is a series of regional economies, and that by having an appointed group of advisory stakeholders in each region, the state's economic development efforts can be more successful. And that's how that works. Each regional council provides a strategic plan for its region and has direct input to us and other state agencies about how state funding is implemented for those regions. Really, in the last couple of years under Governor Hochul's leadership, we've made some improvements to the regional councils. So we thought it'd be a really good time to come back, remind you of how the initiative works, and talk about some of those improvements. And to do that, I'm going to ask and have our vice president that really oversees the regional councils on a daily basis, Ashley McCloskey, give you the presentation. So Ashley, take it away.
Thank you, Vinny. Good morning, directors. Thank you for having us here today to speak with you about the councils. I'll get right into it, as Vinny said, and give an overview of the council's role and end with an update on what the councils are working on this current round. So just a little background on the councils. In 2011, 10 regional councils were established to develop long-term strategic plans for economic growth for their regions. Under Governor Hochul, the councils remain an important part of the state's economic development efforts and will continue to play a key role in a regionally driven strategy to support economic growth and job creation. The regional councils are guided by the regional strategic economic development plans, which emphasize each region's unique assets and provide strategies to stimulate regional economic development and create jobs. Each council is comprised of volunteers who are local and regional leaders in academia, business, labor, industry, nonprofit organizations, government, and elected official representation. The council serve in an advisory capacity to the state and make recommendations on projects and outline the goals for the region. In the past 12 rounds of the REDC initiative, over $7.7 billion has been awarded to more than 9,500 projects, of which 4,000 of those are ESD projects. And of these projects, over 86% are active or complete. The chart here shows the regional distribution of those projects, which in total are projected to create and retain over 240,000 jobs statewide. And over $36 billion has been leveraged at an 8-to-1 ratio for this initiative as a whole. And for ESD grants, the leverage ratio is 11-to-1. So the Regional Economic Development Council initiative is a key component of the state's strategy for investment and economic development. However, it is just one tool in the toolbox, and many other initiatives and programs utilize the strategies set forth by the councils. Several other state-related economic development initiatives complement the work of the councils, and a wide variety of funding is coordinated with and driven by the strategic plans created by the REDCs at the ground level to ensure that available funding is being matched with unique sector-driven needs and priorities of each region. Several state initiatives have been created as a result of the council's impact, while other programs have utilized what the regions have outlined as their priorities and strategies to inform program design and awards. Each regional council has become the voice of their region, advising agencies on the programs and projects most valuable to the region. So to advance the region's strategies along with state and regional priorities, ESD capital funding and tax credit incentives, combined with a wide range of existing agency programs, are made available through the REDC initiative each year. Councils play a critical role in the review of applications to identify projects with the greatest impact on advancing state and regional priorities. So the regional council's endorsement accounts for 20% of the total project score, while state agency technical review will account for 80%. And the Consolidated Funding Application, the CFA, is used as a single application portal to support the REDC initiative to streamline economic development resources from over 10 state agencies. The latest round of the REDC initiative, round 13, launched on May 15th this year. And this year, $150 million in ESD capital grant funding will continue to be made available to support economic development projects that align with each region's strategic plan. And these funds are available on a rolling basis, so applicants can apply anytime throughout throughout the year, and will be notified of their awards as they're approved. And since moving to this rolling process over the last 2 years, over 330 projects have been awarded to leverage over $1.1 billion in funding, and 88% of those projects are complete or in progress. So for this round, for the $150 million of ESD capital grant program, we're encouraging the councils to support projects that advance or address strategic state priorities, which include projects that support green building and sustainable development, childcare projects, projects located in severely distressed communities, and innovative public-private partnerships.
Ashley, can I ask you to, never mind.
Also new for this round, 2 new sub-programs were included in the CFA using ESD capital grant funds, and those include a $5 million craft beverage micro grant program and a $5 million not-for-profit capital grant program. And the craft program will support licensed producers in making investments in equipment purchases or facility upgrades. And the not-for-profit capital program will be available to not-for-profit organizations whose mission is to provide an economic and community benefit to the area to undertake facility improvements and upgrades. So in addition to the ESD grant funds in 2023, funding is also available from programs across 10 agencies as outlined here on the screen. Funding from these programs, again, all utilize the CFA, which is designed to give applicants an expedited and streamlined access to a combined pool of grant funds from various programs and agencies. The CFA is currently open with a deadline for applications of July 28th, and the state will make awards from these programs in this fall. And for programs that are reviewed and scored by the REDCs, the councils review projects and provide scores that reflect how well a project aligns with the region's goals and strategies. So in addition to reviewing projects from these various programs, this year the regional councils will review and update their regional strategic plans, which we've talked about quite a bit already. And the update will allow them to reestablish the region's priorities for growth and create an updated roadmap for the region to achieve its vision for the future. The strategic plan will serve as the new 5-year plan for the councils, and it's an update to the original plan that they created back in 2011. So regional coordination and collaboration is really the foundation of the regional council process, and the councils will continue to utilize this as they undertake the development of their new updated plan. And during this planning process, the councils will engage with regional stakeholders and the public to solicit ideas and feedback to really drive the discussion around the goals for the region. This year, a new challenges competition was also launched where the councils will analyze particular challenges to economic growth, and each REDC will select one challenge to focus on from the list you can see here on the screen. These are set by the state, and each council will develop a proposal that outlines creative and innovative solutions to address the challenge that they choose, and they'll submit that proposal as part of their updated strategic plan document later in the year. And based on the solution submitted, this strategic implementation assessment team, which is a team of state agency commissioners who will be reviewing these proposals and selecting 3 regions to receive $10 million in funding to implement their solutions. Lastly, the councils have also played a critical role in recommending the nearly 70 downtown revitalization initiative communities and the 24 New York Forward communities to receive planning assistance and funding for transformative projects to revitalize their downtowns. And the REDCs will again nominate the communities for a 7th round of the DRI and a 2nd round of the New York Forward program. And REDC members continue to serve on the local planning committees for these communities as well. So that concludes my presentation. Thank you again for having us here to discuss the REDC initiative. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashley. Great report. I served as co-chair of the Long Island REDC for 11 rounds, so pretty familiar with it. But definitely, I could see the new twist which all sound pretty neat and exciting. Question for you. Are we still, are the REDCs still reviewing applications on a rolling basis, and are decisions being made on a rolling basis, or are we back to one big announcement in the fall?
For the $150 million for the Regional Council Capital Fund, the ESD grants program, those are on a rolling basis. But the various state agency programs, the majority of those stick to the traditional timeframe with applications due in July and then those award announcements in the fall. But for the ESD program, that is continued on a rolling basis this year.
Got it. And with the new plans, also all 10 regions will have a new updated 5-year plan, and monies have been set aside to hire professional consultants to assist them with those plans?
Yes, we are working to get a consultant for each region to assist the councils with the analysis of data, public engagement, and development of the strategic plan, as well as their challenges proposals. So yes, the councils will have outside assistance to help them with this effort.
That sounds like a new, good initiative as well. Yeah?
Yes.
Got it.
Yes, this is the first time they received that assistance to help with the plan.
So is it fair to say that the state economic development strategic plan is really made up of 10 specific, regional strategic plans?
Yeah, I think that's exactly right, Kevin. And they're all informed by the overarching strategy that ESD has had for several years that I know the board and others have been discussing. And then one point I want to make before we close, and that is that obviously the regional offices are the ones that really manage the regional councils. And it's our hope that your future spotlight presentations will start to now focus on the individual regions of the state, so you can hear more about their strategic plans and their implementation.
Great. Thanks, Vinny, and thanks, Ashley. Do any other board members have any questions?
I just have a question about the non-for-profit
Sure.
grants.
Very good.
Do the non-for-profits will apply to the Regional Economic Development Council for the grants?
Yes, they will apply through the CFA for the not-for-profit program. That is open currently in the CFA round. So those applications will be due in July as well. But they can go on the Regional Council website and CFA website. There's a full list of all programs that are involved in the process. There's webinars and full program guidelines. So there's much more detailed information on the criteria and the guidelines for that program.
Would that program be on a rolling basis or not, or at one time?
The first batch, the first deadline for the first batch will coincide with the agency program. So the deadline will be July 28th. Since this is a new program, we'll see what the awards look like, and if there's still funding available after that first batch is reviewed, we can open it back up. But since it is a fairly small amount and it is a new program, we've set that deadline, and then we will analyze after that first batch of awards and whether we need to open it back up or not.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Hearing no other questions, thank you, Vinny, and thank you, Ashley.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.